In this video, I'm going to share with you the difference between a microdose and a big dose of psychedelics such as psilocybin, LSD, ayahuasca. My name is Alice. I'm from A Whole New High. Welcome to our channel. So with psychedelics, you can microdose or you can macrodose. You can have a big trip or you can have not a trip, because microdosing is not a trip. So first, let's very briefly explain what a big dose is, what a microdose is. A big dose is any dose that is large enough to make you lose yourself, to make you lose control, to really surrender into the experience. And that is very different for every person because everyone has a different sensitivity level. So for some people, a big dose could be 2 grams of dried mushrooms, or for other people, they don't feel anything with 2 grams. They need 5 grams or sometimes even 8 grams to feel that same sensation that somebody feels when they are on 2 grams. That is a very sensitive person. And a microdose is whatever your big dose is, a tenth of that dose. So somebody who is very sensitive will need a smaller microdose, and somebody who is not so sensitive will need a larger microdose. A microdose is a dose where you do not feel high, but you do feel some effects, like you oftentimes feel more creative, more in flow, more positive, or just more aware of your emotions. If you want to know more about microdosing and what a microdose is, you can go to our website, awholenewhigh.com/microdose, and you can find the information about microdosing. Now, the difference between a big dose and a microdose it's huge. It's a completely different experience. So it's quite hard to even compare it, but I'm going to explain to you how they can be used in different ways. So the big dose, obviously, is a much more intense experience. It's an experience where you take a whole day off, and hopefully you will also take some days off after that day to integrate the experience. It is a very intense it's a very intense journey. You're going to do very deep work. You are probably going to lose yourself to then find yourself again at the end of the trip. It's a breakthrough. It's an emotional release. It's very hard to control this. If you're somebody who needs to keep control a lot of the time, if you take a big dose of psilocybin or LSD or ayahuasca, you're going to probably struggle a bit if you want to try to keep control, because you can't. It's not possible to control that experience. Of course, there's always possibility to control it a little bit, but you can't control the whole thing, and that's why it is also more scary for some people to do a big dose experience. But what is very good about the big dose is that because you can't control the experience, you can go to places where you would usually not go. You can get to emotions that are stuck in your system for years, and they just, usually you control them so they don't come out, and you still feel them in the background, but they're influencing your life. Trying to escape them is influencing your life. So now with the big dose, there's no more escape. You're going there. Of course, that's not with every experience, but the likelihood is much bigger, especially if you do it with a psychedelic therapist, with a guide, and with an intention. So you can really break through if you feel stuck, and get a whole different perspective on a problem or an issue you have in your life, because you'll feel the spirit of the mushroom and it will show you something else. Some people also say it's a little brain reset. That's not every time somebody takes a psychedelic trip as a reset of the brain, but it can happen. Now the microdose obviously is completely different because you don't feel high. You are still in control, even though you will also lose control like a tiny bit, a little bit, but mostly you will feel more in control. You will feel more like yourself. Feels like a an exhale of okay, I let go some of the tension that I'm holding on to. It very often brings you into more flow. It often brings more creativity. Sometimes it raises your awareness to anxiety that you have or exhaustion that you're feeling that you're not aware of. So for some people that take a microdose because they want to be more creative or they want to be more productive, and then they take it and they feel super tired and they actually just want to sleep the whole day, they say it's not working for me. But it actually is working for you because that's exactly what you needed, what your system needed. In order to be creative and productive, first you need to take a break because you're exhausted and you're not realizing it, and the microdose is showing you that. So if you continue on the microdosing journey and microdose several times, you will not always have that same experience of, oh, I'm always tired when I microdose. Now, once you have actually taken a rest and fully rested and recharged, you will also come into that flow experience that other people talk about on microdosing. Microdose will raise your awareness. It's very great for a microdose to change patterns that you're aware of, like food patterns, for example, emotional eating. Microdosing really helps. While you're on the microdose, you can go and live your day normally because you're not high. But if you set an intention that you would like to change this pattern and you would like to eat more healthy, becomes much easier when you're microdosing. It also really good, the microdosing is really good if you had a revelation on the big dose and you would like to integrate this experience and change patterns in your life and change your life around. Microdosing can make it easier for you to do that. Now the danger with microdosing is that because some people just feel amazing while they're microdosing, that it can become addictive. A big dose can become addictive too, but it is such an intense experience that the likelihood of becoming an addiction is less high than microdosing. Many people just feel really good on a microdose. Some people just can take it like an antidepressant every single day, which first of all won't work because you will at some point build a tolerance and you'll have to double your the amount you're taking. And also, that's not the point of psychedelics. Psychedelics can be used to really go to the root and heal wherever healing is needed. And if you use them as a substitute for antidepressants and you become addicted to them and dependent on them, then you're not really using them to create real change in your life. And that's fine too, but that's not the ideal way of using them, in my humble opinion. Microdosing is really good for people who want to prepare for a big trip or who say like, I'm too scared of a big trip and they would like to get to know the substance a little bit. Microdosing is also really good for people who are highly sensitive and just want to get in touch with the plant or the substance and use it to meditate, to go within, to do inner work, shadow work, inner child work. Microdosing really helps with that. Oftentimes when you microdose and you become very aware of your thought patterns. So if you have a negative voice in your head that speaks to you, you become aware that that voice isn't you, and you can make a distinction and also choose not to believe it, which is much harder to do when you're not microdosing. So that really helps, and if you can then turn around your relationship with that voice, that can have a very a lasting effect. It's also really good to limit the use of the microdose for, say you do a 10 cycles during 30 days and then you take a break. that also reduces the risk of addiction. Yeah, but these were the big differences between the big dose and the microdose. I mean, they're two very completely different experiences, which can be complementary to each other. Microdosing can help your big dose can help your microdosing. But basically, on the big dose, you lose more control, but you can have a bigger breakthrough. You can do very deep work in a short amount of time. In microdosing, you will feel more like yourself. You will become more aware of your emotions. You can use it more regularly, and it's not so scary. It's way more gentle. Let me know if you know any other differences that I haven't mentioned, or if you have any questions. Remember to check out our website, A Whole New High, in the microdosing section. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.